Atlanta was torture. It was torture. I had moved down there with a gentleman who was 17 years older than me. Crazy part about it is next month makes 10 years ago when he started beating on me. I was 21 years old. And
What up? Everybody, what's happening? Another episode of Conscious by Nature from the basement. I'm the champ. That's the scholar. That's the genius. We got a special guest in the building, Miss Dorian Jenkins, a.k.a. Baby D. Clap it up. All right, so how you doing today?
I am great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I like the purple shirt.
Period. I'm liking your purple shirt too.
Appreciate it.
You're looking real spiffy over there.
Thank you. Purple in the middle. I like the button hoodies.
Yeah,
man. Conscious by Nature.
Well,
Apparel.
I'm liking this.
ConsciousByNature.com.
No doubt about it.
Please grab you a hoodie, a shirt, t-shirt. You know
Hey, we got them in purple.
Purple is great.
Everything you need is available at ConsciousByNatureApparel.com.
Thank you so much.
So, can you tell us like how it started?
Atlanta was torture. It was torture. I had moved down there with a gentleman who was 17 years older than me. Crazy part about it is next month makes 10 years ago when he started beating on me. I was 21 years old. And
Take your time.
it was deep. It was deep because I remember his cousin telling me one day, she said, run. But we were drinking, we were smoking. I was young, I'm high.
Yeah.
So her saying run, I'm not thinking what she's talking about. I never paid it no attention because my mother and my father has been together my entire life. And I have never seen my father raise his hand at my mother. And he's never called my mother out her name. I've never witnessed it, never seen it. If it happened, it never happened in front of me. I didn't even strategize how I was going to last through the next 24 hours. I was just trying to get through the next hour of the day before he got drunk. You feel me? It was time this better get drunk. And
What made you stay? Because and I hope that's not a bad question. Whenever I hear about women being abused continuously, I don't know if is it fear?
it was more so, for me, it was more so like, the best way I could put it is, a person that's going through domestic violence, don't tell them to leave. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't leave, but if you don't got a plan for them, where you sending them to? Only place you sending them to is to their grave. Because that becomes the most ultimate, that becomes the biggest fight of our life. At that moment, it's like, okay, I seen what he'll do while he with me. But what he gonna do when I leave? And a lot of people think that it's just the adult women and adult men going through it, but 1 in 11 teenage girls and 1 in 14 teenage boys will be affected by domestic violence. And for me, that one is just too many. Well, it was like for them, they kind of knew something was going on anyway because, I mean, it was Atlanta, Georgia. I was outside with a sweater on in the summertime.
Come on now.
It's like, okay, either you hiding something or you hiding something. Like, I had a couple coworkers, like, they just knew. He had actually put up at my job one day to pick me up. And the girls were standing at the window and they're like, yeah, because you know Officer Jenkins, she doing da-da-da-da-da with such and such and this, that, and the third. And he had just put in the parking lot. So he was listening to them say that I was cheating on him and everything. And one of the supervisors walked up and she said, y'all don't even know what y'all just did to that girl tonight. Y'all might have just destroyed a lot about her. And they said, what do you mean? And she looked and she said, come on, man, it's obvious. He beating on her at home. I went home.
What happened?
I think that was the night. I think that was the night he choked me till I passed out. I got choked a couple times till I passed out though. For me, like now to talk about it. Before I couldn't talk about it, but now I could talk about it now because there's so many women and men and young adults that's affected by it. October, they make this breast cancer awareness month. But what a lot of people don't know is that it is also Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And that is the reason that me and Todd are both dressed in purple today.
Right.
Because purple is the color for domestic violence, and it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And I feel as if domestic violence needs to be talked about more because more people are affected by domestic violence than they are by breast cancer. But you'll talk about Save the Tatas when there was just a 14-year-old girl in Cleveland shot and killed by her 15-year-old boyfriend. Point blank range, she shot her in the head. Then there was another young girl that they had been looking for months, since the summertime. They found her the next summer. She was on her boyfriend's porch, murdered. But her body hadn't been stinking because the winter was doing nothing but keeping it cold. And then not only that, but 17 years ago, my family was hit very hard when my cousin's boyfriend shot and killed her.
Oh my! Your whole family is dealing with these issues.
Yeah, and right now, I told my aunt about the show, and she had, I told her I was going to talk about it, but her child's father is now, he wants to have a relationship with his daughter, and at first I was opposed to it. I'm like, man, no. Like, what? Like, I don't. You can ask me to forget this man and forget this man and forget this man. But every time I look at my cousin's mama, it's very hard to do that because you shot and killed her. And that's something hard to deal with like that. I was 14 years old when that happened. So when my mom walked in the house and she's like, Danielle's gone, he took her. I'm like, where did he take her to? And she's like, no, baby, he took her. And at that moment, I felt that was the first time I had ever lost somebody that close to me that I could remember that I had spent time with in my life. I mean, we're talking about a girl that, we did sleepovers together, me, her, and all the other cousins and my sister. Right. Like, we did sleepovers together, and now she's here. The one thing she wanted to be was a mom and a model, and she becomes a mom, and it's taken away from her 3 weeks later. So that is one thing that I'm working on, is being able to forgive, because if he's going to change for the better, he might not have been able to save my cousin. But if he's changing for the better, and we can save children, and we can save other women and men going through it, I can't say it's going to be easy to forgive you, because your life still goes on, and my cousin is still in a box in the ground.
What's the key factor? What was the main thing that made you leave that abusive relationship with that gentleman?
It was March of 2015, and I was getting ready for work, but I don't even know. I had a walk-in closet, and I don't even know what I was doing in there. And I came across Danielle's obituary. And the moment I pulled her obituary out, I said, man, I can't do this shit to my family again, man. Like, what, they felt this already. I can't do this to them again. So I walked out my room, I walked down the hallway, walked past him, and I walked in the kitchen, and I grabbed the biggest knife I could find. I put it behind my back, and I walked in the living room. I don't care where you at. I don't care where you go. But at 12 o'clock at night, when I get off work, you shouldn't be here. That man stood up, and I pulled that knife from behind my back. Go ahead. Because I promise you, I'm going to cut you up. And every day until Christmas time, I'm going to send a piece of you to your mother. Merry Christmas. Because his mom condoned it. The first time, not the first time, this was probably a few times later, he had one friend that would stop it. And I would never forget this one, because we were in there, whatever the conversation was, I said, what, I'm going to the store. I walk out and I forgot my wallet. I went to turn around and get my wallet, and he was charging at me.
Oh my!
He grabbed my neck and he slammed my head against a cement wall. And his friend went up and was like, well, what the fuck is you doing? Get off of her. And he breaks it up. And his mom, we get back in the room, and his mom wants to talk to me. And as I grab the phone, I hear, nigga, I'm trying to keep you out of jail. I said, oh, that's the only reason you want to talk to me, huh? Make sure I put a charge on your son, right? Put another one of your precious babies in jail. You know what? I'm not going to even. And I stopped talking to her. I just threw the phone to him this ain't cool. Come on, man. You put your whole fist in my face. I done been laying on my living room floor, all those type of things. He never really showed the abusive side of him until I got to Atlanta. When I got to Atlanta is when it all came out, but I should have known because it was only one time, like he grabbed my arm and I'm like, I looked at my arm and looked at him, hey bruh, I will call my cousins and my brother and my dad right now. Unhand me. It was a long road, a hard road, but now I'm just a voice for people now. Because there's a lot of people that's scared to talk about it. It's a lot of people who have heard my music who just didn't know that I went through domestic violence, and it made some people leave. It opened some people's eyes. I even had a gentleman tell me, like, hearing your story from the victim side stopped me from hitting my wife. I'm glad it did, but your wife should have stopped you from hitting your wife. The fact that you made her your wife, you pretty much said, I am here to protect you for the rest of the days that we are here. So that should have been the reason you didn't hit her, because that's the other half for you.
You know what's tough? Of course, the situation in totality. But you were just so young, dealing with a man so much older. A grown man to a child is real. Like, if I talk to someone who's 20 right now, it's a child to me. I can easily manipulate their mind. Mm-hmm. So somebody who's weak and wants to be controlling is going to find that way to do so. Just like Money said, he had you for a minute. He found you in town. He moved you out of state. I got you. So it was already in him. It was already in him, that weak bullshit part that's in that person. Because he's not a man to me. And I got to talk about him like that, because that's scum of the earth kind of shit.
He's for the longest I used to say, like, you would have thought that through my Facebook and my Instagram that I was just living life with this man. Like, I put on the biggest and best front. Like, my mom used to like pictures of us like, oh, look at my baby, she's so happy. Reality is reality. He is the scum of the earth. I think anybody who sits back and wants to beat on somebody or control somebody or feel as if, hey, because you didn't do what I told you to do, I'm gonna knock you. I'm gonna punch you in your face. Like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Like, and mind y'all, the man didn't. He had a job maybe here, a job maybe there. Yeah. His mom would help us with the rent sometimes, but at that point, I don't even want you helping, because that still means your son gonna be able to stay. Because I can't afford it by myself right now, because I'm missing days of work, because I don't want people seeing my face like this. I don't want people to. I didn't want to be the talk of the job, and I still turned around to be the talk of the job, because it started getting out more and more. So he didn't work. I did all the cooking. We moved in our apartment in January. Nobody knew a woman lived in that apartment until May of 2013. For his birthday, I threw a cookout. And that is the only way that they even knew that there was a woman living in there.
He's hiding you from the world.
I was always at work. It got to the point where, and this was just in a matter of months. Mind you, I moved there in 2012 in November. By the new year, I had been in like several fights with this man. And that ain't no time from Thanksgiving to the New Year. Like, it's literally boop, boop. And you, Thanksgiving, New Year's. And I had been through several fights with this man to the point where I started staying at work. For my 22nd birthday, I remember getting my hearing partially kicked out. I had been at work all day. And my supervisor comes to me and say, hey, Jenkins, solve a riddle for me. What are you doing on my clock? I said, I'm at work. I mean, is this the riddle you want me to solve? He said, but you told me your birthday was coming up, so tell me the date. I said, February, And he looks at me and said, well, why are you on my clock? I've been here since 7 o'clock this morning. I got off early, and I called him like, hey, babe, I'm getting off early, I'll meet you at the house. And I'm thinking, maybe we could spend these last couple hours of my birthday together, because I'm always at work. I got home, he wasn't there. He walks through the door, and he hands me this cold-ass McDonald's bag with this watered-down Coke. And in my head, I'm saying, well, to walk to McDonald's from our house is a 6-minute walk. So to drive there, it takes a minute. So you weren't where you said you were at. And I think that's fucked up, that it's my birthday and all I do is work. I don't celebrate nothing else in life. But my birthday, that means something to me.
Right.
Because that's mine. I'm here still.
Yeah.
And I was laying on the floor, kind of like had my butt against the wall and my leg was up on the wall, you know, still that kind of kid in my mind. And I'm laying on the floor and I'm talking to my cousin and I'm telling her like, da-da-da, this is how I feel. And I'm just saying like, I'm doing all of this and I just really wanted to have a good birthday. I guess he was drunk and he comes downstairs and he snatches the phone from me. But the way he snatches it from me is like he smacks and mugs me, grabs the phone, he throws it against the wall. As I go to get up, he kicks me in my face. And I went back down to the floor like, but in my brain, I'm just thinking like, did this motherfucker just put the bottom of a size 13, 14 foot on my face? And I got up and he kicked me again. So I go upstairs and I'm getting my stuff. I'm like, I can't do this no more. Like, well, like, nigga, you gonna kill me one day. Like, in real life, like, you really gonna mess around. You gonna punch me the wrong way.
And knock it and kill you.
And I'm gonna die.
Yep.
I went to go get my stuff. As I'm putting on my shoes, he putting on his. I'm like, come on, we're not even about to do this. Like, I'm just gonna leave. You can keep the apartment. I could not run him. So I could have took off running, but I can't outrun you, so you're gonna catch me. I walk out the door, he walks behind me. Just follow me down the street like, I'm going to break your face out here if you think for 1 second you have to leave me. So you want to break my face because I want to leave. Clearly, I'm a problem in your life, so let me send you some peace and get on about
break your
way.
face if you stay, break your face if you leave.
Either way it go. And that was one thing, like, I did tell people, like, that was another reason for me to leave. Because I'm going to die no matter what. That is the one promise that's given to us all. We're all going to die. So I'm going to take my chances. Now, if I make it out of here alive, I got a story. But if I don't make it out of here alive, hopefully I could be the light to somebody else's story. And that's why in my song I tell people, like, you know, picture me. Like, when you're on that side and you being abused, picture me. When you're on that side and you're being abused, think of me. But then the wait for me part, it comes for, like, as if one of our loved ones is saying, hey, I'm waiting for you on this side. Because some people don't make it out of that. And some people, I understand why some people kill themselves behind domestic violence. I understand because I didn't feel like I was loved by nobody in my family. So I was looking for love, like, in every which way.
Yeah.
Me and my sister, only 2 daughters that my mom and my dad has, don't even talk to each other. Can't even tell you right now how her day going, how her week been, or even what her kids is doing right now. She can't tell you nothing about what I'm doing. My brother after me, we used to get into it a lot. My baby brother is about the only one I really socialized with. Me and my mom always had a rocky relationship. I am a daddy's girl, but we done had our moments too. My eldest brother, hell, we ain't talked to him for almost 10 years. He ain't speak to the family. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I was looking for love in so many different places that when he said I loved you, I thought it was genuine.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Sharing your story with us. So Miss Dorian Jenkins, you know him. That's the genius. You know him. That's the scholar. Thank y'all for watching this episode of Conscious by Nature.